Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are doing something pretty cool, something I'm super excited about, and that is getting rid of the chrome wheels on the C6 Grand Sport and swapping them out for some nice black Apex wheels that I picked up that are beautiful. I think they're going to completely change the car. But before that, we are going to go to a spring fair and I'm going to drop these wheels off to be ceramic coated. The car itself is already ceramic coated, and I did that last year, and when I got it done, I told the company that's doing it, I think it's Bob Moses, if I'm saying that right. Could be Moses. Let's go with Moses. And I told them I was thinking about getting wheels and that I wanted to ceramic coat them as well, and that I was going to hold off on it. And they convinced me that if I went ahead and ceramic coated the car, that they'd do the wheels for free when I got them. So that's what I did. And today's the day. So I'm going to take them up there, get them ceramic coated before we put rubber on them. I do think I'm going to reuse the rubber that is on the current tires because there's plenty of tread left, and if I don't have to buy tires, why not? So this is going to be pretty cool. We'll get some before and after shots of it with its Grandpa Chrome rims on it and then the black Apex wheels afterwards. If you haven't noticed, I got a thing for hats. I usually don't mention it, but this hat, when I picked up the wheels, typically when I buy a product, I buy their hat. Love this hat. Like, the material on it is second to none. It's my favorite hat right now, so I highly recommend it. If you're picking up a pair of wheels, grab this hat while you're at it. Also, the back of it is like a Velcro strap, which I think was kind of funny at first, but I actually really like it. You can really fine fit the hat. As far as road glide goes, I did pick up some factory 47 handlebars for it, and they're not the size I typically go with. So keep your eye out for that video if you're into the road glide. I will be doing an install video on that, and I'll explain why I went with the size I chose. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. I'm really excited to get this Vette. Well, starting to black it out, because after the wheels, we're going to do the windows, side markers, side marker lights, whatever, and the tails lights, and we'll probably do some LEDs in the front headlights, but I don't want to switch them out. I'll explain that too when we do that video. I like the stock ones. I think they look cool. It's part of the reason I like the car, so we'll get into that later. Let's get into it. So first off, I gotta admit that me calling these Grandpa wheels is kind of unfair, because I actually really do like the way these wheels look on the Vette. But with my plans for this car in the future, I believe the black Apex wheels will ultimately be the best choice. Also, the previous owner of this vehicle had curbed the chrome rims a few times. You really can't tell on video, but up close and personal you can tell, so the change was coming anyway. Throughout the rest of this video, I'm going to talk about some other good reasons of why I changed out the wheels, and I'm also going to talk about the specs for the wheels I chose and how they differ from the stock setup. Let's start by giving you a good shot of the wheels before they're mounted to the car and covering the specs. So here's how you can expect your wheels to be shipped. They come with these styrofoam inserts that cover the edges of the wheels, and then a cloth material that covers the front of the wheel, and then they come in some pretty thick cardboard boxes with cardboard inserts on both the front and back side of the wheel, so they're pretty well packaged. My boxes had some dings in them, and the wheels inside were just fine. So I've got a Grand Sport model, which is a wide body version of the C6, and it already comes with a meaty wheel and tire setup, so I didn't feel the need to change the wheel size or the tire size at all. But the weight of the new setup is different than the stock setup, and we'll get into that. I went with the Apex VS-5RS wheels with a stock setup for the Grand Sport of 18 by 10 with an offset of 32 in the front and 19 by 12.5 with an offset of 55 in the rear. I also want to talk about the weight of the wheels in comparison with the stock wheels. So you'll notice that the front Apex wheel weighs around 19.1 pounds, and I weighed the stock wheel and it weighed right around 24.8 pounds. So there's a weight savings of 5.7 pounds there. And the rear Apex wheel weighs around 21.6 pounds, and in comparison to the stock wheel, it weighed around 29.2 pounds, so there's a weight savings of 7.6 pounds there. And if you do the math on all four wheels, you actually save around 26.6 pounds with the Apex wheel setup. This may or may not matter to you, but if nothing else, it is interesting. The next thing we need to talk about is lug nuts, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I like to point out my own mistakes in hopes that you can avoid them. The mistake I made on this one was purchasing these Mishimoto Acorn lug nuts because the depth of the lug nut was not deep enough for the wheel stud. This is the stock lug nut for my Corvette, and you can tell that it's much deeper.
This was actually kind of a scary mistake because I had the wheels mounted on the car with the Mishimoto lug nuts and they looked like they were tightened down and were going to work. But when I drove the car, I could hear and feel some thumping from both the front end and the rear end, so I took it back to the tire shop and then they were able to diagnose the issue. Here's a shot of one of the lugs that actually broke through the other side when the tires were initially mounted. So make sure you're not only paying attention to the size of the wheel studs, but also the lug nut depth when you purchase your lugs. Now we gotta talk center caps, and the one thing that was unclear to me when I purchased my wheels is whether or not they came with some center caps, and the answer to that question is yes. Mine came with these ones, but I purchased these ones because I wasn't sure if any would be in the box. One thing that's cool is Apex has different color center caps, so if you have different color brake calibers, you might be able to match them. The funny thing is that I ultimately chose just to go with the center caps for my stock wheels because I felt like they tied into the Grand Sport logo on the side of my car nicely. But the great thing about center caps is you can change them in and out pretty easily if you want to experiment with the look of the car. Now before I show you the end result on my car, I do want to take a quick moment and talk about ceramic coating your car and your wheels.
Okay guys, I just wanted to touch on how I take care of the ceramic coating on this car when I wash it real quick. And I know there's probably a lot of ways to do this. And if you have a different way of doing it, knock yourself out. This is just what I'm willing to do on my weekends. And the results are good. So if you like this method, it works pretty well. The first step is I just hook up my pressure washer directly to my house, and I do not have it hooked up to the spot-free rinse during this step. And then I just rinse off the car and get all the dirt and grime I can get off with that, and that's my first step. So let's do that real quick.
So full disclosure, before I got the vet, I was never the guy that spent a lot of time washing his car, which is why I wanted to touch on this, because as funny as it sounds, when I got the ceramic coating, I was unaware that you had to have a spot-free rinse in order to take care of it, so there is some other cost associated with the ceramic coating, and I just wanted you all to know that.
Okay, Bob Moses will provide you with this Sensuous Up soap. That's a joke. If you're not as old as me, you probably won't get it. Essentially, I take this, I shake it up, and I put it in my foam cannon, and I fill it up about there. It's supposed to be 5 parts to 1, so that's about there for this container. And then on the cannon for my setup, it's on min right now, but I turn this all the way up to max for when I'm washing it.
Okay, again, this is 5 parts to 1, so 5 parts water, 1 part solution, and then you can mix it up and move on to step 2.
Okay, step 1's done. The car's rinsed off initially, and now I will hook up the spot-free rinse to the pressure washer, and I'll get a bucket of warm water from inside the house, and I'll fill up the soap reservoir on top of that soap I already put in there with hot water, and I'll get a sponge, that style of sponge right there, I forget what it's called. And then I'll just wash off the car section by section. So for example, I'll foam up the hood, take the sponge, and I'll just let the weight of the sponge clean the car. I won't put a lot of pressure on it. And then I'll just do that section by section. Today I can probably do it a little quicker because the temperature's right. If it's really hot, you want to spray off a section, soap it up, and then rinse it, and then move on to another section so that soap doesn't dry on the car. I have a feeling today just the temperature is just right, so I'm gonna be able to knock it out a lot quicker. So let's go ahead and knock out section or step number 2.
Okay, again, just soap up a section of the car, use your wash mitt and wipe it down lightly, then switch out your soap for just the water and rinse and repeat until you're done with the car.
Okay, step 3, the final step. What I do is I give it one final rinse with the spot-free clean water, and I do spend some time on the rag top, and I just use the pressure washer to wash it. I don't put any soap on it except what's spray over from washing the car, and I try to get that off pretty quick, and that seems to be doing the trick. I'm sure there's some product out there that you can spray on it to make it beat up and make it live longer. I just haven't got around to that yet. I'll probably be looking into that later. And then I dry off the entire car with an electric leaf blower, and I take the front end off of it because these things kind of kick, and I don't want to hit the car with it, so I just take the front end off. And then I typically just park the car in the garage for the night. I don't usually drive it the day I wash it because I don't want a bunch of water streaks coming out and streaking up the car. So after I dry it off with the leaf blower, it'll go in the garage for the night. Okay guys, there she is, all clean and dry. And again, I didn't use a rag to dry off this car. It was all the leaf blower, and the paint looks amazing. I think these ceramic coatings are pretty slick, but don't be fooled. There are water spots on this car. They're just not as prevalent as if you didn't have a ceramic coating, I guess. And from a maintenance standpoint, they're just a lot easier to clean with the ceramic coating because the water just beads off. With that said, would I do it again? Honestly, I don't know. Ceramic coatings are pretty expensive, and this is the first time I've done a car. And I know expensive is a relative term, but for me, it's expensive. And I honestly just want to see how long the coating lasts. And I also want to see how long the coating on the Apex wheels we're about to throw on it last. So I guess to be continued on the answer to whether or not I'd ceramic coat the car again. But I gotta admit, the paint is beautiful, and for a 12-year-old car, that's right, the last generation of the C6 is over 12 years old now. The paint looks good, and I'm pretty happy with it so far.
So without further delay, guys, here's the car with the brand new Apex wheels on it. Good or bad, let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. I hope it helped, and thanks for watching.